The tape began with static. Detective Martinez leaned back in his chair, eyes narrowed at the old cassette recorder, humming on the table. The room was dim, the blinds drawn, the air stagnant with the weight of something final. Then came the voice, calm, gritty, a low, almost soothing tone.
If you're listening to this, then I'm already dead. That's not a dramatization. I made sure of it. You won't find me. That was the point. You want answers. You'll get them. But you won't like them. This isn't a confession. This is my obituary. Written by the only person who gave a damn. Me. I was born in a trailer that should have been condemned a decade before I breathed in the moldy air. My father was a drunk who liked silence more than people. And when he got angry, he made sure silence followed. My mother was a ghost in the flesh. She existed to serve his beer and bleed in silence. My earliest memory? Hiding in the oven when they fought. One night, he shoved her head through the TV screen. The static felt like it was burning my ears as I cried inside the kitchen. And all she said after was, "Go to bed. No hugs, no comfort, just more silence." That's when I realized nobody was coming to save me, ever. School wasn't better. I wore clothes that stank of mildew and sweat. I didn't know how to tie my shoes until I was 9. My teeth were yellow, and my skin always had a gray tinge from the dirt I couldn't scrub off. They called me names: rat skin, trash baby, stink boy. One teacher even asked the class if they'd ever smelled failure. They all looked at me. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because I'd learned that crying made it worse. Nobody saw me. Not really. Just a thing to avoid or mock. And like all things neglected, I rotted from the inside. The first time I killed something, it wasn't a person. It was a rabbit. It had a broken leg. The neighborhood boys threw rocks at it. I chased them off, took the rabbit home, tried to help it. For 3 days, I fed it weeds, tried to splint its leg with a popsicle stick. It cried at night, loud, painful. My dad kicked the door down and shouted at me for the noise. I waited until he passed out. Then I took the rabbit into the woods. I pet its ears, I told it I was sorry, and then I ended it with a rock. That was the first time I felt powerful. Not because I killed something, but because, for once, I stopped the pain. I left home at 16, slept behind dumpsters, ate out of bins, did things I don't want to remember just to survive. Every job I ever had, I was either fired for smelling bad or because I made customers uncomfortable. People act like trauma gives you purpose, like it's a fire you can forge something from. That's a lie. Some people's trauma is just an acid bath. And I had been soaking in it my whole damn life. So I stopped trying. Her name was Candace. She worked the coffee shop night shift. She was the first person to ever look at me in my eyes and smile like I wasn't a freak. We talked, laughed even. For 2 months, I came every night. She remembered my order. She asked about my day. Then one night, I saw her outside the shop, kissing someone. It was handsome, clean, everything I wasn't. I waited until he left, followed her home, not out of rage, out of curiosity. I asked her, trembling, was I ever something to you. She said, "You're sweet, but you make me uncomfortable sometimes." Uncomfortable. There it was again. My life in one word. I didn't plan it, I really didn't. But when she screamed, something inside me cracked wide open. And then, silence. Blessed, perfect silence. They weren't random, not like you think. They were people who treated others like trash. Landlords who evicted mothers. Bosses who fired workers over one mistake. Bullies in business suits. They were echoes of my past in new costumes. I never tortured them, never drew it out. I wasn't a monster. I just wanted it to stop. I wanted the world to feel, just for a second, the weight I carried since birth. I didn't kill to feel joy. I killed to feel nothing. That was the closest I ever got to peace. Her name was Mara. She was homeless, like me. We met behind a soup kitchen. She had eyes like broken glass, sharp and fragile. I told her she should run, that I wasn't safe. She said, "Neither am I." We shared food, stories. I let her sleep beside me. I never touched her, never hurt her. For a few weeks, I forgot I was broken. I smiled without hearing screams behind my ears. Then she disappeared. 2 days later, I found her in a dumpster, OD'd, and I felt it again. That old fire. I tracked down the man who sold her the drugs. I left him in pieces across 4 alleyways. It didn't bring her back. Nothing ever does. The papers called me the quiet surgeon, said I was methodical, precise, like I planned it all. They never understood. I didn't do it to become something. I did it because I was already something. Something the world made. Each body I left behind wasn't a cry for help. It was a tombstone for the boy nobody helped. You're looking for closure. You won't get it. I didn't want to be saved. I wanted to be understood. And now, maybe, someone will. This is not a confession. This is the truth. My name was Elias Mallory. I was born in dirt, raised in silence, molded by cruelty. And I ended as I began, alone and unheard.
The tape ended. Silence filled the room. Detective Martinez pressed stop. For a long moment, he said nothing. Just stared at the recorder like it might speak again. No one ever found Elias's body. But his words lingered like the smell of blood. Impossible to ignore. Impossible to forget. And that was the final message from a man who didn't want sympathy, only to be heard. Elias Mallory's life was a tragic descent into the darkest corner of humanity, shaped by pain, isolation, and a system that never cared. His story is not meant to excuse, but to reveal the cost of a world without compassion. If this disturbed you, it was meant to. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for another nightmarish tale. Until then, stay alert, stay haunted, and stay Draconian.